Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Volume 9.5. Ayanokoji has a heart that just won't quit, being a cold piece of rock. But will it remain unperturbed even while having sex? That is the question I was faced with when I received a pop-up to this Reddit post. So let's go through the contents of this thought-provoking post. I just had a realization about K. According to Kiyotaka, they cuddled, took the shower, did the deed, etc. etc. all that, and K didn't even notice any change in his heartbeat. Either Kinu didn't think this through when he wrote about Kiyotaka's heart never changing, or K is that much an idiot. Well sent, Junior. I think you have had quite a realization. I would say, K is really that much an idiot. Yay, she is such an idiot that she didn't notice any irregularities in Ayanokoji's heartbeat ever. In fact, I will bet my father's failing liver that she probably didn't even notice Ayanokoji's look of nonchalance as he finishes off his rhythmic mechanical movement with absolute silence. In fact, I am sure that if Kinu gets a chance to write about such things in the future volumes, he would include a monologue of Ayanokoji thinking about his yogurt-making machine while doing mish, or him lying like a dead log while K is completely oblivious in her pleasure. Cause that's how it works, and that's exactly what Kinu meant when he said Ayanokoji had a never-changing heart. Another thing that Kinu really meant was the harem tag on Classroom of the Elite. Cause not even just talking about the big cover girl of this volume, there are still new girls being introduced at this point in the volume that seems like romance interest. Like we are 20 plus volumes down, but Kinu is still like, hey, here's the POV short story of a random girl who hasn't and probably won't do anything significant. Like really, naming it something cutesy like, The One Who Can Find Me, would make the readers care about this random chick. Although to be fair, the reader base of Code is a collection of people who will proclaim a side character with little to no significance the ultimate best girl. And talking about that, Hiyori is really getting some real action. She had a whole interaction with Ayanokoji this volume, also gave him a book that she had probably been carrying with her since volume 7. Ain't that spicy? Although I do have to say, Hiyori does get some special sort of attention compared to other girls. Like her relationship with Ayanokoji is something that even the other characters find special. Like K is jealous of it, says Harada. I personally don't want to say it's really that different from any of his other relationships with the other female side characters, just that its nature is somewhat normal compared to the uniqueness of other relationships. Plus, this really is a 0.5 volume occurrence. I think she is like the Ibuki of the year 2.5 volume. But now let's talk about the cover girl of this volume, and the first thing I have to say about Sakayanagi is that, it's incredibly funny how Katsuguri looks at her. Like he genuinely thinks of her as a kid, and thinks it would be something of a crime if male student of the same year made a move on her. Which I must say, is relatable in a sense. Cause I am pretty sure that there is one girl in every class who is like Taiga from Toradora, but here in real world nobody should admit that they have a crush on that girl. That can really backfire on you, cause that's creepy, or so I have been told. Like, even if you explain to them, like, hey, there is this anime I watched and that girl really resembles that character and isn't that cute. People will say that's not cute, that's creepy, cause she sometimes hits your stomach with her head when she laughs at your jokes. So yay, really respect Katsuguri for being a voice of reason, just like there is in the real world. But let's get to the crux of the matter. Sakayanagi confessed to Ayanokoji. Now the response from the readers were a bit mixed, cause they felt that the novel was really going down a dumb path by having every other girl fall for Ayanokoji. Plus some people regarded Sakayanagi as a proper rival to Ayanokoji and not someone who would proclaim her love to him. And I can't disagree with any of those points, but I do think it really was a long time coming. Ever since Sakayanagi got her first POV short story, it was clear that she had some feelings for this mysterious boy from the first time she had seen him in the White Room. Can't really complain about Sakayangi's choice when her character was literally built to do this. Plus, I don't think Sakayangi's love is like a pure maiden-like thing that would make her be like some other dumbed-down characters. Especially after reading the monologue about her answer to Ayanokoji's question about whether she could turn those feelings into a strength. I think Sakayangi's love is pretty sadistic. By admitting this, I don't think Sakayanagi is gonna be just really good to Ayanokoji all the time, although she is like that right now, bringing him extra luxury cake and everything, but Sakayangi's purpose is to defeat and crush Ayanokoji. And she would consider that her deepest form of love too. Really how she does things in the next volumes is gonna show if it really propels her character forward or just makes her stale. Or frankly, it could be that nothing much changes. Cause, Sakayanagi doesn't want an answer from Ayanokoji. Plus in the former volumes I was really sure about Sakayanagi having a crush on Ayanokoji. So hey, it can be pretty much the same read for me unless they really make this a changing point. Although I do definitely think we will be seeing more of Sakayangi's short stories where her heart flutters and she feels a warm feeling inside. And one person who did actually feel warm and fuzzy inside was Hosen. Cause apparently he has got a crush on Ichinose. There really is not much to say about it. Like, yeah, given Ichinose's looks and popularity, having a crush on her is probably pretty common in school. Now whether Hosen felt like a shy little tsundere while taking a photo with Ichinose, can't really tell. Another person who can relate with him is that lesbian girl from Ichinose's class. What importance does she hold? I got no idea, but she got mentioned, so I shall mention her. But let's get to Ichinose, who is just weird for now. Like her whole exterior demure is the same as always. She is kind, seemingly doesn't mind taking L's anymore. But she clearly has some dark thoughts underneath, cause she is just straight up going for Ayanokoji. That woman did a whole photo shoot with the whole school so that it won't be weird for her and Ayanokoji to take a photo together on Christmas. In these acts she is somehow being considerate of Kei, she even tells Ayanokoji to make up with her. Plus she is kind enough to not really do something really bad. Probably. But she is definitely on her home wrecker arc. Which is such a shame, cause I do get the feeling that somehow or the other she will succeed. Ayanokoji is definitely gonna grow even closer with Ichinose. In fact, this volume was a roller coaster of emotions for me, not really cause of the very exciting events, but because I am sorta of a tiny bit of a K-simp. And by God, did Ayanokoji's monologue made me go through one extreme to another. Cause this motherfucker basically went around the whole volume talking about how he got the situation all planned out. Plus he told Yamamura, the girl who hides behind the vending machine, that he certainly will make up with Kei. That he has a plan. Plus when he talked with Sato he also reassured her a bit that things will go well. But we all know how unreliable of a narrator Ayanokoji is. So when MF Koji monologued in the last chapter about how a parasite like Kei needed to live on her own, and how he felt absolutely nothing, shockers, and how he could study the book of romance with other partners and hence get to learn more about love. Bro, I was like, what the duck is this heartless man about to do? Why such pessimistic monologue moments before he is meeting up with Kei? That chapter was a roller coaster for me. But ultimately he just did this whole monologue about not being a parasitic location for Kei and letting Kei grow on her own by detaching himself, and ended it all with, but not now. And then he made up with her. And he also gave her an expensive gift that he knew that she wanted. So my man spent a date as a replacement for the Christmas that they could not spend together, and then they probably took a bath together. And someone who is really happy for that, aside from me, is Yamamura. Do we care about her? I am not sure, but she sure was cheering them on from behind the vending machine. And she did have quite an interesting role. She was the target for which Ryuan had called Ayanokoji to the meeting. So in this .5 volume, we see the repeat of the most alpha trio emergency room meeting type thingy. You know, it's Katsuguri, Ryuan and Ayanokoji, all gathering together, to talk about the next special exam whose clues are already being dropped. Like every class has received one heads up about the upcoming special exam that people weren't exactly expecting to happen, but it is happening and it can be pretty dangerous. And the heads up that Ayanokoji received, by the way, was from female Koenji, who it turns out is in exactly the same circumstances as the male Koenji. But she has a more of a Ayanokoji mindset. She comes from a rich affluent family but wants to do something normal and live out her slice of life. The same thing Ayanokoji wants, and while talking with her Ayanokoji did bring up in his monologue a tiny bit about how he wasn't actually sure that he was gonna just go back to his planned out lifestyle in the White Room after graduation. I do think that the series final has to be about combating Ayanokoji's White Room situation after graduation, so I do want to pay attention to this bit. And most importantly to the circumstances in which Karuizawa and Ayanokoji got talking about their long-term future goals. It was when Ayanokoji got depressed when he couldn't buy the on-sale yogurt maker. I think that's a recurring theme with OP main characters in anime, nothing can beat them. Except a sale, that leaves them crushed and facing depression. Anyways, back to the Alpha Trio, Ryuan got talking about the next special exam, how people could get expelled possibly. How he wanted to take down Sakayanagi. All this, Katsuguri also made his stance clear on some matters. Ayanokoji didn't have many moments to chime in. And ultimately when they soracted after a long walk and talk, it got revealed that Ryuan was using Ayanokoji as a bait to find the person from Class A who was spying on them. Which is Yamamura. Now did something happen to Yamamura after she got caught spying on the big bad gender equality believer Ryuan? No, not really. There was some manipulating tactics used, but Ayanokoji Kater sorted that out cause he felt that it was his fault that Yamamura GOG caught And in all this Ayanokoji and Yamamura got close. But do I care about her still? I am not sure. But now let's talk about some other interesting side characters. Students from Horikita's class. Those kids have finally started paying attention to Ayanokoji. Long overdue it was, but now they are finally going. Hey, that Ayanokoji dude, something weird about him, right? Finally they are thinking for themselves and not believing in Horikita's ever-changing explanation about Ayanokoji. Which is good, alright. I want them to find out about how Ayanokoji is physically stronger than Sudo, and how he might be a freaking Sith Lord. I don't care if those lousy brats can't do anything with that info. You know, like I want them to know about Ayanokoji's dark side so that he can reveal more of his dark side and finally freaking reveal some of his plans. Like, come on, I don't want to wait until year 3 for Ayanokoji to reveal his class-changing plan. I want it to be grand and possibly this year very much, please. And also not only people from his class are curious about Ayanokoji's matters, so are people from Sakayangi's class. Finally someone else from class A except for that simp herself is investigating Ayanokoji. And that is Kamamuro, who was asked to help by Hashimoto. Who I think is a really clever character that gets overlooked. Like the man is cleverly two-faced and a straight-up scheme bastard. He seems like the kind of guy who would go very far in the real world. Anyways, 3 Class A students had a talk with Ayanokoji and Hiyori. And Hiyori really clutched the conversation by finally showing off her smart side by not letting Hashimoto run the conversation. And while that happened, Ayanokoji bonded some more with Kito. The big takeaway for Hashimoto was, Ayanokoji neither denying nor accepting the allegations of him being the class mastermind. Which is great that Ayanokoji is finally showing off a bit more. But who knows, will it escalate from now on? Or will Ayanokoji remain too firmly attached to Slice of Life? Find out in the next volume where hopefully something actually happens.